My name is Tao Berman, and I am running for state representative. I've been a professional athlete for the past 10 years, but it doesn't define who I am. I'm also an author, a motivational speaker, and a businessman, and I believe that I have the necessary skills to represent everybody within my district in Olympia. Over the past 8 years, I believe that many of our politicians have been making choices that aren't best for you or me. So as opposed to complaining, I thought I would get involved. If I'm elected, what I will do is focus on bringing more living wage jobs into my community. I'll focus on being fiscally responsible and working to improve basic education, because I truly believe our kids are our future. And if we don't focus on them today, when are we ever going to? I'll also make one last promise to you, and that's that if I'm elected, I will work with Republicans sitting across the aisle, not as an opponent, but as a partner to do what's best for people living in my district. Once again, my name's Tao Berman. Thank you.
So start with the question, and I'm going to ask you the education question, and it has several parts, so I'll read it all to start with, and you can refer to it. So education is often considered a top priority in our state, but yet state economists predict that we'll have a $2.7 billion shortfall for our next 2-year budget cycle. How should we prioritize K-12, our community college, and our 4-year college system, given that budget scenario?
Well, I think we need to recognize, initially we need to recognize that we do have a budget projected shortfall. It's going to be complicated, certainly with budget being over 40%, with education being over 40% of the budget. It's simply not going to be easy. But I believe that we need to start recognizing what's important to us, what's important to our future, and then cut in other places. I believe that our kids are our future, and if we don't focus on them today, well, we're going to have big problems, maybe not tomorrow, but 5, 10 years down the road. There's going to be long-term effects, and we can't take that chance. So what I would like to do is I would like to look at what some of the other countries around the world have done that test near the tops of the industrialized world when it comes to standardized testing. I'd like to borrow something from what they're doing right as opposed to what we're not always doing right. One thing that has been proven to be very successful is they have teacher mentoring programs in place that teachers don't teach on their own for a couple years. To me, that makes a lot of sense. It's proven to be effective over there, and I think that we need to look outside of our education system, borrow something from somewhere else so that we could do a better job with the money that we're currently spending. When I say that we need to focus on our kids, it doesn't mean that we just need to throw more money at them, because it's not always the best solution to just throw money at something. We need to look at the way the money's spent, and we need to make sure that we're getting the most net return out of each dollar that goes into the education system, because the education component of our budget is huge, and we've got to be smart with that money, and we have to remain committed to our kids on a K through 12 level and at a higher education level. I could go on, but I am out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. And you mentioned it a little bit in your opening, but I want to ask the question, which is question number 16 on our list here. And because the 15th district does include both eastern and western Washington. So many statements have been made about the differences between the west side and east side of our state. How would you work to accommodate those differences if you were elected as a legislator?
That's a very good question. I think we need to recognize that the east end of the district and the west end of my district both have assets, and we need to utilize what's best in either end of the district. On the west end, we have a lot of wind. We have a lot of sun also on both ends of the district. We need to recognize that the whole district is a great place to draw business into. If businesses in the Seattle and Portland area realized that their bottom line was going to be affected immediately simply because rents are frequently a third of what they're currently paying, well, all of a sudden you're speaking their language. If we could bring more businesses into the district, the west end and the east end, well, that helps everybody everywhere. Look, we do have major budget issues. In a small town like where I'm coming from, we have water issues, and the way to resolve this is we need more tax revenue, and we can't keep raising property taxes. Certainly with our elderly, they're already on a fixed income. We need more tax revenue, and the best way to do that is to bring more business into both ends of the district. And that's one thing that I would do if I were elected into office. And it's something that I've actually already reached out to one business in particular to do, because in a global economy, you don't have to live in and work in Seattle. There's a lot of businesses where you could telecommute. There's a lot of other businesses that don't require living in a major city. So it's time for businesses to also realize that there's a quality of life aspect also. They could relocate into either end of my district have a better quality of life, have a great environment to raise their children in, and have a great business environment. And Washington State's known for that.
Thank you. And now you have 2 minutes to make a closing statement.
Just 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes.
Okay. I am young, but it doesn't mean that I don't understand people's issues in my district that are older than myself. My mom's nearing 65 and has never made enough money to save money. She's never made enough money to save for her retirement. So I'm the one that's helping her decide when it makes sense to start pulling from Social Security. I'm the one that set up her Roth IRA. So even though I'm young, it doesn't mean that I don't understand all of your issues. I believe that we need to do more than just vote for a candidate based on whether or not they have experience, because look at where that got us over the past 8 years. Furthermore, if we're just looking for experience, all of our politicians would be 90 years old. I think we need to look for something else also. I think we need to look for somebody that's a good leader. And what I mean by that, somebody that understands how to surround themselves with people that know more about whatever issue needs to be accomplished than anybody else. And I promise you, if I'm elected, that's what I will absolutely do when in office, because I believe that's the type of leadership we need. I think we need to ask ourselves a fundamental question. Is our retirement more secure than it was 2 or 4 years ago? Is our economy stronger or weaker than it's been in the past? Are there more jobs available for us? I think the answer is no. And I think that we'd be crazy to think that we could keep voting in the same politicians expecting a different outcome. That's simply not going to work. I got involved because I want to see a different outcome, and I recognize that we've got to start by electing a new type of politician, and that's why I'm running for office. I'm about out of time, so let me end on this. I've traveled the world many times over because of my career, and I can honestly say the most special place that I've been, and the reason I live in my district, is because it's more special than anywhere else that I've been. And if I'm in office, I will do everything that I can to leave my community a better place than I found it. So come November, remember, my name's Tao Berman, and I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Berman, for participating today.
Thank you very much.